Whisper secrets dark and brave, eyes that pierce into the night. Monsters come, we must fight. Candles flicker, casting dread. Ghostly wails fill my head, chasing demons lost in time. Sanity a steep climb. Off with his head, she screamed. Blood moon's eerie gleam. Battle cries through the dark, leaving fear's deep mark. Echoes of sins long past, fighting shadows deep and vast. Blood-stained blade in hand, stand your ground, make a stand. Cursed whispers fill the air, spirits cry, beware, beware. Through the fog and through the flame, monsters here know my name. Off with his head, she screamed. Blood moon's eerie gleam. Battle cries through the dark, leaving fear's deep mark. Off with his head, she screamed. Blood moon's eerie gleam. Battle cries through the dark, leaving fear's deep mark. Echoes of sins long past, fighting shadows deep and vast. Bloodstained blade in hand, stand your ground, make a stand. Cursed whispers fill the air, spirits cry, beware, beware. Through the fog and through the flame, monsters here know my name. Silence screams, hearts break, nightmares come wide awake. Warriors of woe take flight, darkened souls embrace the fight. Shadows crawl from the grave, whisper secrets dark and brave, eyes that pierce into the night. Monsters come, we must fight. Candles flicker, casting dread. Spirits cry, beware, beware. Whispers in the dead night fire, broken dreams and twisted wire, darkness.
Alright, evening everybody. I would say welcome to another episode of Bitey's Breaks, but we're doing this a little different tonight. So, what we are doing, for those of you that don't know, Vampire the Masquerade 6th edition was just introduced at Gen Con today, and they put up their alpha playtest. For those of you that don't know me, I got my start with Vampire the Masquerade. Vampire the Masquerade 1st Edition was the first tabletop RPG I ever played, even before D&D 3.0. It's what got me into tabletop RPGs to begin with. So yeah. Okay. Hey Fee, hey Mad, welcome to the stream both of you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So, we are going to be going through the playtest, just the information about about it, what's changed, what's new, what works, etc. I will say I've tried to pull up their character creator, and everybody and their mother is on right now trying to use the character creator. So more than likely this will not work. But before we get started, I do want to go over very quickly because I haven't looked at any of this yet. I'm going in completely blind. I want to see. I did see a comment or two on Reddit, which, as we all know, is just a beautiful source with no bias whatsoever, and absolutely no bots and no whining. Love Reddit. But joking aside, kind of joking. Anyway, what am I looking for in the alpha? What do I want to see? Me, Mr. Bites. Vampire the Masquerade from the very beginning has always been much more narration based. Game mechanics and game rules have always been second to Rule of Cool and the narration in general. It's gotten better with every edition. It's gotten more mechanically precise, but balance has never been a big thing with Vampire the Masquerade. Obviously I don't want to see it go full D&D crunchy, but I would like to see them continuing to tighten the rule set, balance the rule set. I absolutely want to see Rouse checks go away. They were my least favorite part of V5. I would love a return to a blood pool system. And yeah. So game design goals, don't care. The love letter to the storyteller system. The storyteller system is cool. None of this really matters to me. It's just marketing jargon. We want to make stuff that you can use on the fly and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Players are invited to shape the story. That's always been very important. Simplified mechanics, condensed skill list. Okay. Supported social interactions. A new mechanical structure now helps to support social interactions. That's good, because one of the most common aspects of playing Vampire, yes, Vampire, again, for those that haven't played it, is very much a game of personal horror and social intrigue. There's also some wacky as shit moments to it, but out of the tin, it's supposed to be personal horror and a lot of politics, a lot of social interaction. Struggle between the beast and humanity, how the beast manifests and how a vampire retains its humanity is personalized for each character. It kind of already was that you had paths. I want to see what they mean by that, obviously. Players now choose how they fail. I want to see what they mean by that. Unique characters, that's fucking okay. Play the characters they want through life paths. That's interesting to me. Again, I don't want to just constantly say I want to see what the fuck they mean by that, but I kind of want to see what they mean by that. Degrees of failure, that's good if it means what I think it means. This is something I'm hopeful for. Especially in earlier versions of Vampire the Masquerade, there was a huge difference between a point of will and a point of blood. One of those was much easier to get, and there was not, like, yes, blood points and willpower were resources you spent, absolutely. However, it wasn't the same. that's all. I don't care. Playtest goals. Fuck with the core mechanics. How distinct each clan feels. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. How easy is it to create your character? Waiting. When you ignore one side of your internal struggle for too long, its impulses can grow too strong for you to resist. That's interesting to me because it's always been in the past, your humanity, quote unquote, was you, and you were resisting the beast. Now it makes it seem more like you're trying to balance between the two. That's interesting. Because, like, again, back in the day, if your humanity dropped to either 1 or 0, you became a non-player character. You were an NPC. The beast is 1. You're not even sentient, really. Give your sheet to the storyteller and fucking re-roll. Quickening. Success begets success. As you push yourself and pull off impressive actions, the vitae inside you quickens, charging you with potential. So the more you succeed, you get bonuses to spend. I will never see this in gameplay. Everybody's seen my rolling. Character creation offers many choices to make your character unique. Okay, whatever. Difficulty. What's changed? Cool. Difficulty now reduces the number of dice you roll on a test. Cool. So that seems like it's much closer to the Chronicles of Darkness version. Where, say, I wanted to punch you, and, hey, mind, welcome to the stream. How you doing? So difficulty now reduces the number of dice you roll on a test. That's interesting. Back in Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire Requiem, Changeling the Lost, etc., if I had a attack of 7 and you had a defense of 6, when I went to attack you, your 6 defensive dice would erase 6 of mine, and now I'm rolling 1 die to see if I can hit you. I kind of like that. I know some people won't, because one of the best parts of fucking Vampire is rolling 30 dice. I get it. But that's a very good streamline. I like that personally. Again, quickening rewards players for rolling well. I don't need to know what this does because I will never fucking get it. Also, everybody and their mother is using the website right now, so it's a little slow. Again, I'm still waiting for it to load up a character. Physical and social. Alright. Players roll almost all the dice in the game, both to accomplish action and to avoid things happening to them. I like that. I like players rolling more than the DM, the storyteller, rolling well. Or rolling more. I like... A storyteller should roll some things. But to me, that should be more of a narrative thing to represent fate itself moving against you. You should be rolling most of the time. You as a player. Alright, you 3. But many disciplines now scale with you, growing in power as you gain dots. They've always fucking done that. I want to see what they mean. Because that's worthless. Like, that's a worthless sentence as it is. We'll worry about the storyteller's pack in a second. Alright, Chapter 1, The World of Darkness. You're a vampire. You died, you just didn't stay dead. Okay, cool. We all know what a vampire is. The hunger, the beast inside you, the blood, the masquerade, a reflex to protect your existence. No one can know that vampires are real. Yeah, mortals may be weak alone. Well, they don't write it here. Anyone who's played will be able to tell you. There are more than mortals in this world. You're all lumping yourselves together. Alright, sunlight and fire, very bad things. Day sleep, you sleep during the day to exist at night. Alright, this is all, whatever, generation, so that remains the same. Elder and neonates, yep. Alright, the sex, have these changed? One of the things I didn't like about V5 is that they opened it with all the Sabbat just kind of fucking off to the Middle East and just disappearing there. And I get why they did it. They wanted to reset and reintroduce, and I understand. I don't like it. I understand. The Camarilla, normally that's the sect you play in my experience. Who the fuck are the Unbound? This is new. They're not a separate sect. Okay, never mind. It's independent. The Unbound are independent. It's simply a collective name other vampires use for their kin who belong to no sect. They're independents. We're gonna fucking move that. Alright, the world of darkness has changed a great deal. That's what happens when the apocalypse doesn't happen. Mortals still exist. Cool. Some of the elders have come back. Okay. I mean, that sentence is fucking true. The new digital world of post-truth and AI slop has turned out beautifully for the masquerade. No one believes in anything anymore. Everything is staged, posed, faked. Vampires take advantage of it, though they still have to be careful. Yeah. Many abandoned modern technology altogether, stay out of its reach. Doesn't work that way. I assume the Nosferatu are behind this. Alright, we're gonna skip this. Let's... Like, this is interesting, but we're gonna get to the part we really care about. Making your monster. Vampiric flashlights. Ugh. Oh, my steak is raw. Alright. Step 1. The fuck are you? Type of creature, the kind of creature of the night are you? Neonate, Ancilla, and Elder are terms that denote the tiers of play. Okay, so they're codifying those three into tiers. So it's not just generation, it's that. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. I think for the most part it's okay. Again, for those of you who played older versions of Vampire the Masquerade, Neonate, Ancilla, and Elder were kind of the ranks that you had, and they roughly corresponded to generation. Like a vampire that has only been awakened for 5, 10 years was a neonate. You're a new guy, you don't know shit. Ancilla was okay, you're no longer under your elder's thumb officially. You have agency, kind of. You're one of the movers and shakers, mostly, etc. And then an elder was, you've got power now. Elders were typically lower generation, but not always. And lower generation vampires were typically elders, but not always. You could play an elder. I'm playing a character right now who's 8th gen, but they were in Topor for 500 years. They gained amnesia. They woke up. From what I understand, Bloodline 2's main character would be similar. They're an elder for generation, but if they woke up with nothing and weren't recognized, they could easily be treated like a neonate. But that's a minor thing. We'll move past that. I get what they're going for. Again, max 5 dots. 5 dots is typically, in old editions, 5 dots was human max for a skill. So a neonate vampire, in and of themselves, are not older than, or not, oh god, excuse me. They're not more powerful than a mortal in terms of pure stats. Once you get to the Ancilla, the Elder, that's when you start getting the superhuman agility, the ethereal beautifulness, etc. So yeah, most characters start the game as neonates, young vampires embraced in the last 50 years or so, likely of the 11th, 12th, or 13th gen. Mostly at this point, the thing that makes you more powerful are your disciplines. Starting with, or no, maximum distance. Okay. Still 5, that makes sense. I don't know what generational modifier is. We haven't gotten there. Alright, almost immortal. You can live for thousands of years. Most things that would kill immortal, such as AIDS, disease, and bullets, aren't as big a problem for you. Bullets still hurt. That's fair. Enough damage puts you in Topor. Cool. You need blood to survive. Dual entity. You are two beings at once. The mortal you once were and the beast that now lurks within you. That's the same. See step 6 for empowered blood. That's fine. Undead, you aren't a living creature. You keep the physical form you had the moment you were embraced. That is going to piss people off. Unlike living creatures, you don't generate the tiny electrical charges that bodies produce, so you can't use devices that depend on it, like touchscreens. They've made everybody a V5 Lasombra. Cool. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I will probably house rule that away, but they've gone back to short and close. Okay. So yeah, if something was in short distance in one turn, you can move to it and then still fuck with it. Cool. Animals still don't like you, that's fine. Fire and sunlight mess with you. Your clan. So I know a couple of them. Alright. So, Banu Hakim, old name was the Assamite Vampires. Banu Hakim is the new one. That was one of the V5 changes. Bruja are your street punks. Gangrel, lone survivors. They don't have... No one has Protean. Tellergy, that's probably the new name for chemistry. 1 second. And Cative, okay. Oh, fuck me. Okay, so before we continue, I'm going to make a couple assumptions. Malkavians are back, thank God. Yes, I'm going to just walk around and use a hot dog on my smartphone screen. That is completely, no one will notice that. So, I'm going to make a couple assumptions. Lore time, for those that don't know. I think everybody in stream right now does, but whatever. I'm not making a hot dog fleshlight for my finger. No. I love you, Mads. No. So one of the things they like to do in new editions is combined, or to merge Demontation, which is the Malkavians' I'm crazy and I will make you crazy ability, discipline, and push that back into Dominate. Way back in first edition, Malkavians had Dominate as one of their core disciplines. Demontation didn't exist. Then they made Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages, and they did some reworking, and they created this awesome new let's make everybody crazy discipline called Demontation, and gave it to the Malkavians. And then when they did Vampire 2nd Edition, revised, they were like, people really like Demontation for Malkavians. How do we explain bringing it forward? And they actually did an in-universe lore-related retcon where some Malkavian elders decided Malkavians would never be welcomed in the newly formed Camarilla if they still had Demontation. So they played what they called the Great Prank and made all Malkavians forget they had Demontation. And then, with Revised, they reversed the prank and gave it back. And now you have an in-universe reason why Demontation is back. The problem is, repeatedly, when they do a major edition like this, with like Chronicles, with V5, etc., they like to just merge Demontation into Dominate. And as I look at Malkavian, they're back to Auspice, Dominate, and Obfuscate. Which means Demontation was probably rolled into it. I'm not seeing Protean, which is your ability to kind of shapeshift. So that was probably rolled into Animalism. Yeah, see, Animalism rank 1 is Aspect of the Beast, gain an animal feature. I can see Animalism and Protean being combined. They've done it before. It makes sense. Lore is overrated. Lore is the whole reason you play fucking Vampire. The lore for Vampire is crazy, both good and bad. This is the game where one of the characters one of the NPCs, Sasha Vikos, got so pissed off at the Camarilla, the newly created Camarilla, and the idea of the masquerade, and we have to hide what we are, that he basically told one of the other elders, Hardchat, you know what, if you're gonna neuter us anyway, here you go. Used flesh crafting vicissitude to rip off their own dick and throw it at him, and then walked out. This is also the game where the Zamichi made a cathedral of flesh in Transylvania, and then the cathedral of flesh got bored one day, got up, and left. They lost a giant cathedral made of flesh. So they made another one. And you'll never guess what that one did. It got up and it walked away too. Probably. We're going to be looking through. So, let's go over the clans real quick. I keep getting sidetracked and I apologize. We're not going to get to create a character tonight. I just don't see it happening. But Banu Hakim, typically your assassins. Middle Eastern vampires. Bruja are your street punks. Very Lost Boys, if you remember that old movie. Gangrel are your more animalistic, your rangers. Celerity is supernatural speed. Obfuscate is hiding. Potence is supernatural strength. Presence is supernatural boobies. Fortitude is supernatural toughness. Necromancy. The Giovanni are one of my favorite clans. They are Italian mafia necromancer vampires. That is such a great sentence. Right, when even the building itself is like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out. See you guys later. I don't like this game anymore. I'm done. The Lasombra are always one of those clans that they're either super overpowered or they've been nerfed to oblivion. There is no middle ground with them. Dominate is mind control. Potence is, again, supernatural strength. And then corruption or oblivion. So oblivion is the old obtenebration, it looks like. It's all about manipulating shadows. Corruption. Okay, so corruption is literally just the old thaumaturgical path of corruption, now is its own thing. Alright, cool. Auspix is not just supernatural senses, but supernatural senses. So not only can you make, like, your eyesight better, but you can start doing object reading and telepathy, and eventually you can get, like, astral projection and the like. So the Ministry, the old followers of Set, the Setites. Don't forget Korn. You know they sing Korn. There's always that one Bruja that likes Celine Dion, and we respect that. Nosferatu. Nosferatu are your hideously malformed, we're obviously not human vampires. Ravnos, they've changed. Back in the day, they were gypsies. I know that's not a great word to use nowadays, but again, when they were made in the 90s, that's what they were. Um, every one of them had an ability or had a weakness where you chose a vice, like kleptomancy or something like that, and whenever you had the opportunity to do it, you had to spend willpower to not do it. They were, if it wasn't for the Malkavians, Ravnos would be the Kender of vampire. Romani is a better term. The reason why I used the one I did is because the negative connotations were very much meant for the Ravnos. They were outsiders to most courts. Everybody hated them. They were basically every stereotype of the Romani made not real, but you know what I mean by that. That's Ravnos were very interesting characters. Here you get obfuscate, presence. Telergy is not available. I'm assuming that's illusion magic because back in the day they had chemistry, which was illusion magic. The Salubri are back to being a main clan. I don't know how I feel about that. Um, the Salubri is a clan that was basically um, diablerized and taken over by the Tremere. And surviving Salubri were hunted down, most of them killed. Same thing happened to the Cappadocians, same thing happened to etc., etc. Which, speaking of the Cappadocians, we're back to the Giovanni and not the Hecta. In V5, they basically gathered all the death vampires, the Harbinger of Skulls, the Giovanni, the Lamia. Even though all of these groups hated each other, somebody wiped out Augustus Giovanni, who was the head of the Giovanni brand of vampires, who had diablerized Cappadocius to become an antediluvian. And apparently him getting killed was enough for everybody to start making nice, and all of the various clans of death coalesced into one known as the Hecta. I don't know enough about it to say anything other than it sounded stupid, but I I absolutely understand that Mad was right. I agree that Mad was right. I used that term for a reason because that's how that clan was made originally back in the 90s. They have moved past that, and if I was referring to today's version, yeah, Romani would be the correct term. But when the clan was originally made, the derogatory was absolutely intended. If that makes sense. The Toreador, they're your Anne Rice style, death is beauty and I like artists and everything is beauty and whatever. I've played Toreador before. They're interesting. They're one of the ones that are better combat. So if you're coming from a D&D or a Pathfinder background, they're one of the ones I would actually recommend. Celerity, super speed cannot be understated when it comes to combat. Auspics, being able to see, hit from further afar, etc., is great. And then presence, being able to just shut down your enemies. It's great. Your clan weakness, let me go back and make sure I'm reading this correctly. Curse and Frenzy. Okay. Bruja, again, are your super emotional vampires, your street punks. They feel everything more. When you attempt to resist a frenzy, the difficulty increases by an amount equal to your generational modifier. That's not bad. We saw those were like 1, 2, and 3. Rebellion, whenever you frenzy, you act against whatever or whomever you see as an authority figure in the scene. Have fun. Cool. Tremere, they're your blood mages. Toreador drama, yes. The Toreador love drama. The Zamichi, they are very much your old world vampires. That's a Zamichi. Animalism, okay, especially considering they roll into animalism, it looks like. Dominate, mind control, okay. Again, I don't know what Telergy is. I'm assuming it's illusions, but I don't know. And then Vicissitude is flesh crafting. Ventru, those are your blue bloods. Those are the ones who, and it looks like they kept it, rarefied palette. When you make your character, you have to choose a type of mortal, like soldier, natural brunettes, teachers, whatever. You only gain so in the past it was you could only gain Vitae from them, Vitae. Now you must make a self-control test against a difficulty equal to twice your generation modifier. Okay. On a success, you regain only 1 Vitae for every 3 you fuck. I mean, that's better, technically, but you basically can't drink. Caitiff, basically your blood is so weak you don't show the signs of being from a clan. The fact that your disciplines are now randomly determined, that's interesting. Okay, so choose your sire. Your sire now has sire types. I like this. I really like this. Anything that encourages you to make more connections in the story, that kind of blends that mechanical and the narration, I really like that. I think that's a really good idea. Basically, mind, yeah. Adoptive sire, brood child, 1 discipline from a broodmate's clan. Okay. I kind of like this. And then obviously this list will increase as more books come out. So this is a bonus discipline, 1 dot in a discipline from your adoptive sire's clan. Yes, you can metagame a little bit with this, obviously. But all of these are set to storyteller approval. So just don't be a dick. I like this. Your sire was cruel and abusive. That's like 98% of sires right there. All right, unknown sire. At one point back in the day, that was standard for Gangrel. A Gangrel would sire someone, throw them in the wilderness, and then fuck off for a year to see if they would survive. And if they survive for a year, then they would come back and fill them in and let them know what's going on. But they had to earn it. Yes, I like the flavor options. Like, yes, there's absolutely going to be the min-maxers. There's absolutely going to be the people that are like, actually, Vigilant Sire, by giving Auspix, Dominator, Fortitude, really goes well with one of these other clans, and that allows you to do a 2.75 more degrees of what. You're always going to have that player. Flavor is still important, and I really like the blending of the mechanical and the narration. I like this. I think this is a good change. All right, so your storyteller typically chooses your generation since it shapes the narration and the flow of play. All right, so basically, if I was a storyteller and I was running it, I would say to you guys, my players, um, right, exactly, Mad. All good, mind. But yeah, basically, I would go, okay, guys, we're going to be running an Ancile campaign, so you can choose ninth or 10th generation. Your generational modifier would be 2, and you're good. I like that. I kind of like that. It does help. Yes, more established players will make characters with vastly different power levels, but you can still do that with this. It just makes it a little easier for new players, and that's important. If you make things too hard for new players, you're not going to get any fucking new players. And if you don't get any new players, your game doesn't grow. So, step 4, your life paths. Alright, choose 2 life paths that represent your early experiences. This is what you were. Alright, so this is background. Cool. I also like this. Life path is competence. At the storyteller's discretion, when no other skill applies to a test but your life path suggests you would be competent in that field, you can add 2 to your dice pool or gain a basic success on the task. I really like that, again, for newer players. You know, I can't tell you the number of times where I've seen new players, or I've done it myself. Oh, fuck. All right, I have this really cool idea for a character. They were a former detective, and I got really into making everything. And, you know, they were this, like, Italian mafia kid that turned away from the not Giovanni. Honestly, guys, it's just the regular mafia and not controlled by the necromantic vampires, but we all know what it was. And then I'm like, oh wait, I spent all my points. Their whole backstory is like they're dual lingual, and I forgot to give them fucking Italian, or I forgot to give them Gaelic or whatever, right? Like that stuff happens. So being able to occasionally, at the storyteller's discretion, yeah, you're a fucking detective. You should know a little bit about X. Go ahead and add 2 dice to your dice pool. That's nice. I like that. Um I am not getting you a kit. You have 2 kittens. We have kittens at home. They're both idiots. They're both staring. So, When creating your character, choose 2 life paths that represent your early experiences. These represent the things you did and the roles you played before the chronicle began. Cool. You get 5 dots to distribute among your life path skill list. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure you'll get freebie points at the end to pick skills that your life path may not have access to. Choose a focus for the skill. I'm assuming that's a specialty and works the same way. It's not going to let me open. So we'll come back to that. You gain a +1. Oh, it's right there. You gain a +1 dice bonus to any test with that skill in which the focus is relevant. Awesome. You gain a focus at 1, 3, and 5 dots in a skill. Cool. No skill can have more than 3 dots during character creation. That's the same it's always been. If something causes a skill to gain more than 3 dots during character creation, spend the extra dot in another skill of your choice. Cool. You get 3 dots to distribute among your life path's resource list. That's nice. That's backgrounds. That's just backgrounds. These might be properties, social assets, items tied to your life paths, even weapons. Cool. Yeah, that's just fucking backgrounds. That's allies, that's domain, that's haven, that's fucking backgrounds. Cool. What the fuck is a Duskborn? Duskborn is a thin blood. Duskborn is 14th or 15th gen. Okay. I wants it. I wants to eats it. Alright. You can't choose a life path outside of the tier of play your vampire chose. So life paths themselves can be gated behind the tiers. Okay, I like that. So, mortal life paths. This is just fucking concept. They just codified concept a little better. Cool. I'm down with this. Yeah, you choose 1 mortal and 1 vampire. Okay. So it's mortal life path is concept. Vampire life path is the hunter type from V5. Cool. Right? Sheriff? They don't have any elder yet, so we're not going to make an elder if it ever doesn't open. But yeah, blood deliverer, cleanup crew. Hell yeah. This is easy. Rules for creating your own life path. Awesome. Yeah, this all makes character creation a lot easier. A lot of the older editions, you could very much get into choice paralysis. Even more established players, like people who've been playing a while, I have seen just stare at their character sheet like I know what I want to fucking make, but what am I doing? I get it. This streamlines it. It makes it easy. I'd have to see it in action more, but overall, I kind of like it. Hound, you are the muscle for the local authority. Cool. You're the bruiser. Diplomat. Alright. Don't forget, you already gained one additional. Discipline powers. Now, here is what I need more information on. Okay, good. So this is a change. I like it. Is it going to let me see more? Whatever. So, as a vampire, you've been gifted, blah, blah, blah. Each discipline has a score in dots, which determines your overall mastery. The number of dots also determines the ranks of powers you can access. Fuck. You can have more powers than you have dots in a discipline. That's good. One of the big problems I had with V5. So I don't know. I don't think they've said it. I haven't seen it yet. We'll see if there's a merit that lets you do so. Personally, even if they don't mention it, I plan on just following the old rule. You can spend a blood to keep it down for a scene, and then you gotta get rid of it. And if there isn't a 1-point merit for eat food that does that without the blood point expenditure, we'll fucking make one. That is not a game-breaking thing. But one of the big problems I had with V5 was when you got a rank in a power, or in a discipline, you chose a power. And that was all you got. When you got rank, like when you put rank 1 in necromancy, you chose one of the rank 1 powers. When you got rank 2 in necromancy, you either chose a rank 2 power or a rank 1 power, and that's what you got for that slot. And you could only ever have one power per slot. That was so stupid, because there were so many unique and interesting powers that I would never fucking take. Not because they themselves were weak, but because they had weak follow-ups, or there was another ability in that tree that was just so much more powerful. Not taking it was a wrong answer. And I hate wrong answers. I do not like the concept of trap feats and trap merits in tabletop RPGs. I think that's a stupid concept we need to move away from. Life paths. The number of life paths you have at character creation. Now this is interesting. This is where you get stronger. At character creation. So an Ancilla vampire will have 3 life paths they chose because they've been alive for more than 50 years, typically. So you'll get more starting dots that way. I like that. That's nice, that's clean, that's easy. I like that. A neonate, you still get your 3 base disciplines, and then a bonus one based on your sire. Ancilla get 5 plus 1, 5 points to spend, etc. Again, simple, easy, I like that. Harkens back to the older editions. They are back to doing 9x9. I like that. I also like that they mimicked what Chronicles of Darkness did. I really like separating that, like officially designating them. Here are your power, your offensive stats for physical, social, mental. Here are your utility finesse ones for physical, social, mental. Here's your defensive ones for physical, social, and mental. I like that. It was already kind of set up like that. This just codifies it, and again, makes it easier to see at a glance for both new and old players. Um, right. Trap stuff is for people that just want to kill their own players, and it's there specifically to fuck with new players. And if your whole goal is to fuck with new players, they're just gonna go play D&D. And now your system is the shitty system. No, I'm not saying make it easy for the new players. No, no, no. We all go through hell together, but we do it together. Uh, because you suck. I don't want you to suck because you beat. Um, okay. So I like that strength determines how much blood you can drain from a victim in a single turn. That's really nice. Um, because right now there's in other editions, there's very little reason to pick strength over something like dexterity. Like, yeah, it has its point, kind of. Not really. Stamina is stamina. Charisma, manipulation. These are all pretty self-explanatory. Alright, again, focus. Having a focus in a specific craft or expression gives you a working knowledge of that topic. That knowledge is practical, though, rather than exhaustive knowledge of the topic's history or its broader stroke, or broader scope. God. So yeah, this is all pretty self-explanatory. I like this. Alright. Athletics. It looks like they combined. Okay, so they have done some combining, which is good. Um, Brawl and melee are now combined into fighting. I like that. I personally, all of you that know me know I love making unarmed fighters. I'm a monk for life, regardless of the game. Um, I'm absolutely that guy that will make the mortal boxer who wants to sucker punch the fucking Ventru. Like, I am what I am. Combining brawl and um, swordplay, knife play, etc., melee combat into one and then letting your focus determine your fighting style is the correct way to do it. It's better. Um, Sabotage, that's your thievery. I'm sorry, that's your breaking shit. Your mechanical over your subterfuge. They combined alertness and awareness. Again, in older editions, alertness was to determine real world shit, awareness was to determine supernatural shit, they should be the same skill. This is all pretty self-explanatory. I like it. Alright, your disciplines, clan traits, and merits. Your clan determines which 3 disciplines you have an aptitude for. These are the ones you start with. Okay, cool. Necromancy, let's see. Okay, I was wrong. Telergy. Using a twisted connection to the natural world to manipulate it, curse the living, twist fate, and subvert the natural order to keep you and your allies safe. Okay. So that's... It looks like they blended chemistry into obfuscate. Bewildering and mystifying the senses, typically via illusions and mind tricks only the sufferer can perceive. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. Sorry, Matt, I'm just now seeing what you wrote. Yes, alertness has been done away with. Yeah, that was always a big source of confusion. That's one of the reasons why I'm glad it's gone away. The two should have been combined. All of these we've already gone over. Celerity I'm most interested in, only because celerity is one of those things that it's overpowered in almost every edition it's been in, because it usually just gives you extra turns. And anyone who's played any tabletop RPG ever will tell you, action economy is everything. It's fucking everything. I like... One of the things I dislike about older editions is some powers, like Potence, like Fortitude, like Celerity, you didn't get different powers at different levels. It was a static. Like, Potence would add to your strength checks, including damage, and you could spend a blood to make your Potence automatic successes. Cool. But whatever. Like, it's great. You're not going to laugh at the Bruja with 5 Potence who just hit you for 30 damage, and you have 7 hit points. You're going to die. But it's not exciting. So, clan traits. Merits are unique aspects inherent to your character. So traits are what clans get. Merits are what you get. And I'm assuming there's going to be flaws as well. Some merits have power, discipline, clan, or even tier requirements. That makes sense. Alright, here are some merits. Turn an animal ghoul into a powerful bond familis. That's great. Chain the psyche. Those under your control feel pain when disobedient. Let's see. Enchanting presence, always good. I like that. Mortals you target with your presence powers suffer a penalty. If you're an Ancilla or stronger, this merit also affects supernatural creatures. I really like this. I really like that the merit has an increased power based on your tier. I like that. That's good. Um, Hunger strength. You're not you when you're hungry. All right, so I want to talk about this cuz I saw somebody bitching about it. Reactions exist now. Reactions have always fucking existed. They've always existed. They may not have been codified, but they've always existed. You've always been able to react to things happening. This is not turning the game into D&D. Stop it. Um all right. Humanity scale and your nature. As a vampire, you're a monster who was once immortal. Blah, blah, blah. You begin the game with your humanity positioned in the middle of the two extremes, balanced equally between your monstrous and mortal sides. This means you fill the middle of the 7-dot humanity scale. Okay. See humanity in Chapter 4, Rules of the Night, for more information. And then, again, if you're a higher tier, you slide further in one direction or the other. At first glance, I like that. I need to know more, but I like that. I like that more than tying your humanity to your conviction, self control, or courage. Because, especially at character creation, it's very hard to do something like make a character with high humanity and be very courageous. Even though, I would argue, in the world of darkness, you probably should be fairly courageous if you want to maintain your humanity. But that's just me. Scroll back. Did I miss anything? No. Cool. Alright, choosing your nature. So, nature and demeanor were always a thing. Each nature includes an outburst, a compulsive behavior your character carries out when you lose control to that side of yourself. So, I assume demeanor is going to be your beast side. Let's see. It doesn't say, but see, as a survivor, you always pull through, surviving whatever life or unlife throws at you, blah, blah, blah. Let me scroll back up for what indulging means. An outburst. Okay. So you indulge in it to not lose it. Cool. Perfectionist outburst, perfectionism, nothing is going the way it should, and everything must be perfect. I fucking feel that. You can't use social discipline powers, and for the rest of the scene, you must spend each turn redoing failed tasks. Ouch, I like that. Okay. Okay, I like these. I like these. Your resources. quality. Each dot in a resource improves its quality and its potential uses. 1 dot in wealth, you're a commoner. 5 dots, you buy people. Cool. Pretty self-explanatory. Physical assets, exactly what it sounds like. Haven, property. Repository, I like these. I like that you can do ally either minions or retainer. I like that. Contact, self-explanatory. Fame, herd, mask. Mask is alternate identity. Okay. The fact that each dot in mask both represents a different identity and improves the quality of all your masks, I like that. That's smart for that one. I don't know how I feel about status and fame in this version. Normally, previously, fame would be how you were seen in mortal society. Status is supernatural society. Now they're both just kind of whatever. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a make or break. Important items. Assume your character has some form of ID, cell phone, and keys to your haven. You know, it sounds stupid that you would put that, but... And then you also get 1 additional item per life path you have. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen people make characters and the game didn't tell me I started with one, so I don't have ID, I don't have a cell phone, I don't have my car keys, I don't have, like, you can have basic shit. Putting it down there, that's fine. I'm okay with that. There better be ways to increase that. That's all I'm gonna say. Not gonna rant. Not gonna bitch. Alright. Vitae is the blood that sustains your existence and empowers your vampiric abilities. It serves as both physical endurance and as a resource. Okay, that's interesting. I think I like this version of Hunger Dice better than the Hunger Dice from V5. I kind of like this. I need to see how it plays, but I kind of like it. Vitae maximum 10 plus stamina makes perfect sense. Gives me more excuse to put points into stamina. Right, exactly, Mad. I haven't seen the archaic flaw yet, but I haven't really seen any of the flaws yet. They may not be included yet. And then mind, I fully trust you to make your own life difficult. Tragically difficult here. We've got this. Oh, it's stupid, but it's great. Yeah. Yeah, that needs to be there. No notes. Well played, World of Darkness. Well played. Oh, here we go. Flaws. Everyone has problems. And this needs to be fleshed out. Flaws I'm not happy with. Flaws might be a problem here. Blah, blah. You can have as many flaws as you like, but there is no set list to choose. This is a chance for you to think about who your character is, how you want to play them, and what sets them apart from the others at the table. Flaws aren't mandatory either. They can open up interesting narrative options, but don't feel obligated to take one. A flaw gives your character no specific mechanical bonus or penalty, but it always serves as a role-playing tool. Something to lean into when you roll a painful failure or when you propose a devil's bargain. Okay. I like devil's bargains. Um, I don't like that for flaws. I don't. Again, having that concrete list of flaws helps people flesh out their character. It helps even just with the brainstorming process. Um, no specific mechanical bonus or penalty. Okay. But then nobody's gonna fucking take them. No one's gonna fucking do it. So that I'm not happy with. But that so far is the one thing I'm really not happy with. Session 0, always, dear God, always do a session 0. Always. Especially with a World of Darkness game. Do a fucking session 0. Those of you that know me know I'm not a big fan of saying, if you don't do X, you're wrong. Session 0, if you don't do one, you're fucking wrong. Period. The whole point of a session 0 is to where you, the storyteller, and the players sit down and make sure everybody is on the same page. You know, everybody has that story where 3 people showed up playing characters that were very serious and very dark and very tragic, and that was a story they wanted to play. And then one person showed up as fucking Bob the Magic Flute player, who fucking what right, like there's always that guy who shows up as Big Bird or the stupid shit. Make sure you're on the same page. That's all a session 0 is. If you're not willing to sit down and talk with the other players, with the storyteller, before the game begins and make sure everybody's on the same page, why the fuck are you all playing together? Seriously, why are you playing together? It's a game. Make sure you're good. Make sure you know what's going on. Make sure everybody's on the same page and comfortable with what's going on. Because if you're not going to have fun. And if you're not having fun, why the fuck are you playing? It's a game. You play to have fun. Ah. Right. Alright, coterie creation. That's cool. Looks like they continued the trope, the types of coteries from V5. It doesn't look like they have mechanical bonuses like they did in V5, but I like that these are here. Coterie relationships. Here's a random table you can roll on to see how you feel about the other members of your group. Cool. Will I use this all the time? Maybe. I may do it to fuck with people. But that's fine. That's obviously, whatever. Coterie goals, again. Here are some samples. Talk about your domain. Like, I like this. I like that they've written it out here. And you're good. I like that they mentioned, hey, you can pool your resources in your haven, but you often prefer to keep individual ones. That's great. That gives me ideas. I like it. The prelude, again, that's great. This is all fine. This is all fine. I like this. Right, this is storyteller versus player, bitches. I don't know when, but I may reach out to some people and do the storyteller packet. Because it has an introductory adventure. I may sit down and do that with a couple people on stream. I very much need to read more. Okay, Diablerie is back. Of course it is. Lower your generation by 1. If the gap in generation modifier between you and the victim is greater than 1, lower your generation by that difference instead. Okay. Choose one of the victim's disciplines. Okay. So overall, I like this. I would like to go over the storyteller packet, but we don't have time to do that tonight. Right, I'm absolutely going to reach out to some people. I may, depending on how many people are interested, I may do 2 different games. I don't know. I'm going to... It's also summer, it's convention season. I'll figure it out, but I think I'm going to do this playtest at least once or twice. Yeah, otherwise, thank you everybody who hung out with me tonight. Let me see. Yep, still not letting me make a character, but that's okay. Fuck it. Again, thank you everybody who hung out. It was great to see y'all. Great hanging out. I am going to log. Our next session will be Tuesday, August 4th. It'll be Bitey's Breaks, or it won't be Bitey's Breaks again. I will be going over the storyteller side of things, I think. I'll let you know when it gets closer. Anyway, y'all take care, be safe, see you next time.